So this is Bedrock just like you. This is for the editing project. And the first thing I'm going to do in here is I'm going to go ahead and make sure I've got my, I'm just going to go ahead and sort everything out here. So first of all, when you start, you'll notice you've got all the inserts A through E, F through J, sends A through E, F through J. I don't need to look at all that stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here in the bottom corner and I'm going to hide inserts F through J and sends F through J. So now I'm just looking at inserts A through E and sends A through E, and that's something that probably probably you don't need more than 5 inserts and 5 sends. If you do need more, then of course you can turn those back on, but it just helps with saving space, especially if you're working on a laptop. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to organize all my tracks. And remember we talked about the track organization. Now I just want to point out real quick that this is not in the order that the milestones were due. The milestones that I put them up as was just an arbitrary order, just to kind of, I just had to have something for you. But the order can really be anything you want. So I'm going to do it in the order that I would actually do it in real life. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here on the left hand side. I'm going to look at my tracks and I'm going to grab all my drums and stuff. I'm going to stick my drums up here at the top. So kicks, hats, let me put the kicks first. We got a snare clap. I'm going to just throw that up here next to the kick. We got a cowbell over here. What else we got? We got a thing called percussion. So I'll put that right here. Synth Vox return, I don't know what that is. Guitar, cowbell, oh, there's a cowbell right there, boom. Cash register, chants, 808 bass. Okay, so I'm gonna put the bass next. I got this thing here called sub bass, I got the 808 bass, I got the slap bass. I'm gonna put those in this kind of order here. And we'll come back and revisit that in a second here. Then I got my guitars, and let's just put, okay, the guitars are next to each other. Breaths, I wanna put the breaths down here. And the synths and stuff like that, I'm going to put these up here next to the bass, the cash register. The breaths and the cash register, I'm going to assume those are kind of sound effects. Oh, and the race car, I'm going to put those as sound effects down here. So kind of put those down together. And then I got my synth stabs and synth pulse. And we'll put those before the guitars because the guitars, this is more of a synth driven song. It's like a hip hop kind of R&B type of song. So I'm really going to assume that the guitars aren't really rhythm guitars or something else. So I'm going to put that here, synth pulse, let's put that there, boom, main synth pulse. And I can change this up at any time. Guitar wet dry, red return, that, I think that's for the drums. I can't remember, but I'm going to put that over here for the drums just for now. So you got, see here, I've got my drums. Oh, what's up, Kai? How you doing? Let's see, get you over here. Okay, so what I've got here is kick, snare, hats, percussion, cowbell, wash, cowbell, return. We'll figure out what that is in a bit. Basses, synths, guitars, strings, breaths, and cash register, sound effects, and then vocals. And then vocals, let's put the main ones up here. And let's put the chorus, mid chorus, and low chorus, the chops, I don't know what that is, and the return is down here. Okay, so we have all these, and this is like a basic order. It might not be my final order, but at least it's something to get me started. And you notice that that took me about what, like 2 minutes, 1 minute, something like that. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna color code these things. Go to my color palette here, and I'm just gonna highlight. I'm gonna make sure it says here on my color palette, I'm gonna make sure it says tracks, saturations up, this button is turned on, good. And I'm gonna go over here to these here. I'm gonna color all my percussion the same color. I'm gonna color all my basses the same color, all my synths the same color. We'll make those kind of a brownish color. My guitars here, we'll make them a different brownish color. And then my strings, this kind of other brownish color. My breaths and all this stuff here, I'm gonna make them yellow because that's sound effects. My vocals here, I'm gonna start off with them this kind of dark green here, this one. And then my choruses, I'm gonna make those a slightly different green. And the chops and all this stuff here, slightly different green. That right there. Yeah, I like that one. And then the shortcut, there's no shortcut. I just go up to Windows and select Color Palette. and then this Vox Reverb. Okay, cool. So I got this stuff set up. Now I need to make a master. So a stereo master fader. Boom, got that done. And remember, that is Command Shift in, and then hold down Command right arrow, Command down arrow. Now at this point you should know a bunch of these shortcuts. You don't need me to tell you, or you should know how to do it. If you don't know how to do it, you need to go back and revisit the first few lessons, because at this point you should be knowing how to do this stuff. And if you're still like wondering how do I create a master fader, you really need to go back and visit some of those early lessons, because that's at this point that's you're kind of behind. So just so you know, like you should know how to create some aux channels and stuff like that. So now I've got these auxes here. I just made 2 new auxes while I was talking to you. One of these is going to be for my vocals, vocal group, and the other one is instrument group, and everything is going to lead to those right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here in my drums, just double click the bar at the bottom for the color shortcut. What bar? What are you talking about? Oh, okay, I see what you're saying, huh? That's very, that's nice, okay. Cool. And then says, when we do our final song project, do we need to add a click track? I would add a click track, sure. But let's keep those questions for Zoom, all right? Anything that's not just, I don't want to answer too many questions right now. I just want to get through this, and we can answer all questions later on, because I want you to be able to go back and watch this video later without a whole bunch of questions. All right, so now what are we doing? Okay, so we're going to make a new track here. And I'm going to call this one drum group. That's a new aux track. I'm going to set all my drums to go to that aux track right there. Go to the aux track. I'm holding down Option and Shift. I selected all my drums, Option and Shift, and it does them all at the same time. Boom, they go to that one. Now this drum group, this one is going to go to my instrument group down at the bottom. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that right now. And I'm going to go ahead and color code it. Double click with this new one that I just got from y'all. Thank you very much. That's awesome. Boom. Let's make that a slightly different. Right there like that. Boom. Okay, now my bass is here. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. There's another shortcut you can do for creating these. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and highlight these and go up, hold down Option Shift, go to my output, and go to new track and call it bass group. And what it's going to do is it's going to make a stereo aux called bass group, and it's going to set up my buses automatically for me. And again, I'm going to do that from now on, and you can see how I do that. And I'm going to make them all red. In the bass group one here, I'm going to make this a slightly different red. And in my synths, same thing. Shift click them, hold down Option and Shift, go to the last one, go to new track here, give it a name, synth group. Boom. And now all these, they're already going to the synth group here. Oh, my bass group, make sure that's going to my instrument group down here, and also it's my synth group. Make sure that one's going to my instrument group as well. However you want to do that is fine. It's up to you. And then my synth group here, make sure that one's this kind of brownish color. And my guitars, same thing, Option and Shift. And make a new track, guitar group, bloop. And this guitar group here will be slightly different brown. That's good enough. I think these are the same as the synths over here. Now my strings, they need to go somewhere. I'm just gonna put them with my synths for now, just because whatever. And they kind of fit in with the synths maybe. I don't really know actually. I'm just gonna stick them there. We can change that later on if we want. My guitars are gonna go into my instrument group. And again, you'll see that I'm just getting some broad strokes here. It's not exactly. I could change these later on, and it's still no problem. SFX group, we'll call that. And then all yellow, like Coldplay's song. And then this goes to the instrument group over here. Boop, boop, there we go, boom. Sweet, now our vocals. Let's get our vocals together here. new track, and you can see how fast you can do all this stuff once you've practiced it for a while, once you've gotten pretty good at it. This is going to go to my vocal group. There we go, and this is my vocal chorus group. It goes to my vocal track, my vocal group, and these here are just like the vocal extra things. Oh, this vocal reverb over here needs to be. Oh, interesting. Okay, it's got like a bar across the top of my. I never thought of that as a bar. I just thought of that as a. That's really interesting. If I turn it off, oh, it goes away. Huh. Cool. I never even noticed that. All right. So this here, my vocal reverb, and all these. Well, the vocal reverb will go straight into my vocal group. What's up, Jason? And these two here vocal chops, vocal this, we'll put that in vocal extra group. So you added the extra vocal track so we could add our own something. I didn't add any extra vocal tracks. Those are in here. I'm not sure I understand your question. I didn't add any extra vocal tracks though. I'm just grouping them together, but I'm not adding extra ones. All right, and these are going to go here to the vocal group as well. Boop. Like I said, I'm not really sure I understand that question, but we can definitely talk about that later on in Zoom. All right, so here I've got everything done. So that's milestone 4 and 5 done right there. That is milestones 4 and 5 are done at this point. So as you can see, it's been less than 20 minutes, and that's also me kind of explaining stuff and answering questions and things like that. So, you know, if you're just going straight through here with this, and this is not a really huge mix, it might take you a little bit longer, but really within 10-15 minutes, you should be able to knock that out. When you get good at this stuff. Obviously, I'm good at this, so I go fast with it. But even if you're going slow, really a half hour, and you should be able to knock it out. All right. So that's that first part there. Next, I'm going to go through and just do a rough mix. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to turn everything down by about -5 or so. And I'm not sure, actually, how are these? Hold on. Oh, I have to solo save all my aux tracks as well. So I'm just going to go to, let's go show only aux tracks. And I'm just going to go ahead and solo save all these. They're all solo saved. Good. So we can see that's what you're talking about? Okay. All right, so talk about the groups. All right, well, like I said, we can come back and answer any of these questions here. But all right, so far I haven't done anything that we haven't shown you all in tracks, shown you all in normal classes yet. I've just been grouping things together, subgroup mixing like we talked about last week. And if you're not sure about why I'm doing this, either talk to me, but I would recommend go back and watch that video from last week, because that is really going to help you out a lot understanding why we're subgrouping. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and show all my tracks, and let's do this. Let's go to let's go ahead and put some markers in here. And I also want to set up my my tempo so it's correct. Now this is a new thing here. And this is what we're going to do is we're going to identify this beat here. And what I'm going to do, first thing I'm going to do is make sure that this button right here is turned on, tab to transients. And what that does is it enables me, turn off my group all, it enables me, if I hit the tab key, it's going to tab over to the transient, which is the sharp attack of each one. It's going to let me tab to the transient for each one. So I'm going to tab to this one here. I'm going to hit Command E to separate this out so I have a clip right here. Now, when I select this clip, it should select the timeline as well. So if I hit loop, let me go ahead and hit loop. It's just a beat. It's just a. It's a 1 bar. Now, if I put a metronome in here, you're gonna go track, create click track. If I put a metronome in here, this click track is not gonna make any sense with anything. I'm gonna move my click track up to the top. No, not like that. I'm gonna do it over here. There we go. Hear how my click track is like way off compared to everything else, right? Right. Well, I need to make these two fit together. So what I want to do is I'm going to first of all make sure I've got my 1 bar here, and I have 1 bar set up as a loop. And the way I did that, let me just go through that one more time, is if I have my session here, I listen for it and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is the downbeat. This kick is the downbeat right here. I'm gonna click next to it. I'm gonna hit tab and I'm gonna cut it. Command E to separate the clip. Boom. Now I'm gonna highlight it, and now if my link timeline edit selection is turned on right up here, it should loop. Well, also make sure that you've got loop playback turned on as well, which again, we learned about that in the first day of class. So now we've got that set up. What I want to do is I want to tell Pro Tools, hey, this is 1 bar. So right now I know it's 1 bar, but Pro Tools doesn't know it's 1 bar. Pro Tools thinks it's like 2.58 note bar. So that's not going to work for anything. So what I want to do is I want to tell Pro Tools, hey, this is 1 bar. And then Pro Tools will say, well, if that's 1 bar, then the tempo must be this. So if I tell Pro Tools this is 1 bar, Pro Tools will spit the tempo back at me. So I'm going to hit Command I to tell it it's 1 bar. Start, end. So the end location is bar 2, 0, 0, boom, 2, 1, 0, 0, 0. So start time is 1, end time is 2, and that's going to be 1 bar. I'm going to hit go, and now it just shifted my tempo to 1.104.9011. That's basically 105. So I'm just gonna get rid of this little blue marker. What I did was I put a little blue marker in here, and the blue marker says, oh, that's where your bar is, and it's a little bit off, so that's why it's giving me 104.9. But nobody does their tempo at 104.9, so I'm going to assume it's 105. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get rid of this little blue marker thing here because I want to put my own tempo in. I'm going to hold down Option and click it, and now it gets rid of it. And I'm going to go back over here to my red tempo marker, double click, and put 105. And now, if I put my tempo, if I turn my metronome on, right? Now it works. Okay, and that's how we can set up a tempo in Pro Tools. Now, if you're doing the song Rubadoo, this will not work for you. It does not work all the time. It only works on songs where a computer was used to make the song. It's not going to work on stuff, or unless if the band was playing with a click track. But usually, even with a click track, it's going to be a little bit weird because you have to kind of do some moving of things around. All right, so we got our tempo here, and again, please come back and watch this video if you're lost about it. But I can also talk about it in Zoom. I want to keep moving so that the video doesn't get long and distracted and kind of going all over the place. So we've got our click track here. We can use this later. We don't need the click track right now, so I'm just gonna mute it and make it small. And then what we're gonna do next is I'm gonna just make everything medium size. Hold down Option, click medium, and everything becomes medium. And now I'm going to go through and I'm going to get rid of a lot of this like empty space that's in here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all my tracks, like go back here to all groups, all, highlight all the tracks. Whoops, hold on, I gotta make sure, oh, I forgot, I gotta get these back together again. I can, two ways, because I don't want this like little extra clip here in the beginning. I can either click and drag to the left, or I can highlight both of them and hit Command H to heal, and that'll put the clips back together again. Heal only works if you haven't moved anything. If you move something, then heal does not work. Heal was very confusing for me at first because I was like, why isn't it working? And I realized, oh, it only works if I haven't moved anything. So now I'm going to select all. So it's going to highlight all my tracks. And what I'm going to do is this thing that we didn't really talk about too much, but it's under here under Edit, Strip Silence, right here. It's a pretty cool thing. And I recommend using it, but what strip silence does is it lets me strip out the silence. It's basically like a gate for broad strokes. So what I'm going to do in here is go in here and, oh, I'm not going to do, actually I can't do it all. Here, I'm going to do it like this. Boom, I'm going to set this up. And we've got a couple of options in here. And basically what I want to do is I want to get rid of all this big space here. I don't need to get rid of all this small space. So I'm going to set my threshold. I'm going to set a pad in the beginning and the end. And the pad, what it does is it gives it a couple extra milliseconds from the beginning and the end. And my minimum duration until we're not, what I don't want is I don't want all these boxes here. And the threshold is where it's going to work on the audio. So you want to set your threshold. If I set it up too high like this, it's not going to select anything. If I set it down too low, it's really not going to set anything. What I want to do is I want to get it so it's barely getting it, boom, like that. Yeah, like let's put it like around -40 dB. That should work out. I'm going to hit strip and it's going to get rid of the silent parts here. And if I click on the next one, it's going to do the same thing down here. See that? But I need to make sure that we're not cutting things up too much. So I need to make sure my minimum duration is set kind of high for in this kind of scenario. And then hit strip, boom, and I'm going to go to this one here and just see, you can see how it's blocking things out. I'm going to hit strip, and this is like quite a quick way to get rid of all this extra stuff that's in here, because we don't want all this extra silence in here. We really don't want that extra silence in here. Cool. All right, that's good. And strip silence is a great one to research about. It's a more advanced technique. That's why we don't really talk about it in class too much, but it's good for this today. You could also do this by hand. I've done stuff like this by hand many, many times in my life before I learned about strip silence. There's nothing wrong with doing it by hand. And as a matter of fact, I would recommend doing it by hand a few times, just so you kind of learn what you're doing with this stuff. And if I wanted to do it by hand, what I would do is I would just go through and I just highlight this here, Command E, and then get rid of the ones on either side. And I would just go in here like this, get rid of all this stuff in here. Let me put my slit mode on. Zoom in a little bit here. And go over here. And like this, deletes. Yep, nope, I did it by hand forever. And doing it by hand is not bad, but strip silence is amazing. It's a good thing to know about. That's why I'm showing it to you today. Command U is the shortcut. You just go in here, strip silence, boom. And let's do this one, boom. This one, boom. It does help. it makes your process a lot quicker. So, okay, so I got all this stuff here. Oh, this reverb looks like it's actually part of the chorus. So I'm actually going to put this reverb over here with my chorus group. Just looking at this stuff right now, it looks like it's part of the chorus group. Yeah. So I'm going to make it so it's part of that chorus group here. And I'm just kind of noticing that right now. Boom. This looks like it's vocal core reverb. Unless it's like in other parts of the song, I just don't see it. Hold on, let's just see. Nope, it is not. Okay, cool. The shortcut for making your waveforms bigger and smaller is Command Option brackets. There you go. Cool, so I've strip silenced everything. Let me just go ahead and make everything mini so you can see. So now, yep, you can see there's no spaces where there's no audio. Now the reason why we want to do this is because even if there's silence, if you have audio that's being played back, it's gonna bog down your computer's processor, because it's, even if it's silence, it's still playing the silence. And I know that's a weird concept, but keep in mind, if I, like, here, let's take a look at this this one. Let's take a look at this race car. The race car goes that way and it goes that way. It's because when they bounce this out, they just bounced out everything. And both brackets, left and right, not one bracket at a time. Command Option bracket left, bracket right. So the race car is just this one little spot right here, right? Well, I don't need, it's basically the computer is playing the silence here. If I have this clip all the way open like this, it's essentially playing the silence. And so when it's playing that silence, it's taking up processor power. Even though it's taking up processor power just to play silence. It's like, this is silence, but we don't need that in Pro Tools. We can just make, Pro Tools can just accept the silence. So I'm gonna get rid of that silence so it's not actually taking up any processor power on my computer. So if it looks like this with just a gray area, it's not using processor power on the computer. But if it looks like this, it's gonna sound exactly the same as if it's just a gray area, but now it's using my processor power. So that's definitely something that you need to keep in mind there. Boom. Okay, so we got this stuff now. We got that. So everything I've done so far is just housekeeping. This is like, I haven't even listened to my mix yet. I've just gone in here and said, okay, this is housekeeping. It helps me see what's going on. I got my tempo here. And now let's go ahead and check out what is going on with the song. So let's go to the beginning. And before I even get into my mix, I'm gonna go ahead and make some memory locations. So the very first memory location I'm gonna make is my top. Hit the enter key or FN, return if you're on a laptop. I'm gonna call this one top, boom. Now I'm gonna zoom ahead. I don't need to listen to everything. Okay, cool. All right, sweet. So let me turn my grid back on. I'm gonna go ahead and put one right there. 3, 4, 1. That's my verse 1. Okay, so that's my verse 1. I got that. I'm gonna put my grid to bars because I don't need it at quarter notes. All right, and that's the chorus. I know this feels good, but who knows what love means. Now the reason I know this is the chorus is because I've listened to this song a bunch of times. So you might want to do this part later on. I'm just doing it right now because I like to have a roadmap for myself. Verse 2. Whoops, I clicked on the wrong thing on my screen. Let's go over here. Okay, got a little chorus 2 there. Now to scroll left and right, I'm holding down Shift and using my scroll on my mouse to scroll left and right. That's a thing that's for every DAW. Okay, so we're gonna go into here, bridge instrument. This is the bridge bass or bridge vocals. And I've got multiple sections of my bridge here, so I'm just gonna mark those out. Here's my solo. Bridge. Guitar solo. This is where the beat all comes back in. It's basically this chorus. It's kind of the outro of the song, really. my third chorus. Cool, so I got this here. Let's go over here. I'm going to put an end right there. Boom. Now notice I didn't put the end right here when everything stopped. I put it over here because it gives me some time to let any kind of tails die off, and I could move that end later. But right now it's just a good guide point. But now I've got all this stuff, so every time I'm playing the song back, I can just move around to different parts here. And like, I'm doing this quick for time's sake, but you can go back and take your time to do this, because especially if you don't know the song very well, if you're like way behind on stuff, and there's a few of you who are way behind on stuff, then you probably don't know these songs that well. This is going to take you a long time. Don't get frustrated. Just do it, because it's part of the process. And I'm doing it quickly, but that's because I've done this with a million songs, and I've done this with this song a million times. So I'm making it look really, really quick and fast, but that's because I have a lot of experience doing this. All right, so now we've got all our markers in here. Now I can go back and I can say, all right, let's do the chorus. I'm gonna hold down Shift and click on my memory locations up here in the right-hand corner, and it will loop that part of the song. Now you'll notice in here that the chorus, the vocals, right? So this verse here, the vocals and the chorus are sung really differently. And if we listen to it, let's just go ahead and do a rough mix. Let's do the mix of the instruments actually first. So I'm gonna go ahead and mute my vocals because I don't need to hear them. I'm gonna hide the vocals as well, so I'm not looking at them, I'm not paying any attention to them. There we go, boom. So now I'm just gonna focus on my, I'm just gonna focus on my instruments here. And let's start off with the drums. Remember we talked about this. So I'm gonna go to all these other ones here. I'm just gonna hide all these tracks here for a second. And I'm just hiding the ones we don't, I'm not hiding the groups. These here, boom, there we go. All right, so I'm gonna start with the loudest part of my song, which is my chorus, and I'm gonna loop the chorus here. And this also has like everything going on, and it's got all the stuff. So first of all, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make this a little bit louder in my headphones. So go ahead and just adjust your headphones accordingly. Or sorry, not adjust your headphones accordingly, but this song is pretty quiet. So I'm actually just, yeah, I don't know, turn it up, or I don't know what the relationship is between the song and my vocal. Apologies, I don't know if it's too soft. Is the song like at a decent volume, or is it too soft for you? Because I can always just turn it up here on the master fader a little bit more. Let me know. All right, so first though, I'm gonna turn this one down. And I'm gonna go ahead and group my drums. Command G, drums, put that over here in ID number D, not E, D for drums, boop. Cool, all right. All right, cool. So I'm okay with the relationship between these, but this cowbell, this wash sound, is way too loud in that mix. Let's see what the snare drum sounds like by itself. And then our reverb. Okay. Okay, it just kind of widens it out to the sides. I'm gonna give a little bit more. Awesome. Now, if you listen to this song a little bit, you'll notice that the synth main here, the synth pulse, is actually the same part. Yeah. So I'm gonna turn that down. And that's doing the same thing as my drums. So I'm just gonna do that there, like that. And I'm gonna, with this synth line, I'm gonna put a low cut EQ on it, or a high pass EQ rather. Because we don't need, I'm gonna put it at 150. When in doubt, When in doubt, if you're cutting out low frequencies, just put it at 150 when in doubt. All right. Okay, so we got this here. We got our drums set up. I think that's a pretty decent setup for our drums. Let's just see what this cowbell sounds like. That's coming up here. Okay, cool. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put some reverb on these drums. I want that cowbell to have a little reverb. There is some reverb already on the snares and stuff, but I want some of these other ones, the hi-hats and stuff, to have some reverb as well. So I'm going to put a new reverb in aux. I'm going to call it drum reverb. I'm going to put it inside my drum group. Double click it. My new thing that y'all showed me. Thanks a lot. I love it. Love it. And this reverb here, I'm going to go ahead and solo safe it, send it to our drum group. Bus drum group. And on this drum reverb, I'm going to send my cowbell and my percussion, my hats, to that drum reverb. So let's do the cowbell first. And send it over to the track I just made. Drum reverb, boom. So it sets up my send. I'm going to go ahead and put a drum. I'm going to put a reverb on here. And we'll put deverb there. Boop, doop, doop. There we go. Let's use room 1, 2. Make it small though. I don't want it to be too big of a reverb. And I'm going to send these other ones over there as well. See how that's like way too much? Yeah, that's nice. Maybe a little bit too much. It's hard for me to hear in my headphones, so I'm just going to turn it down, err on the side of caution a little bit there. Turn that down a little bit. I actually kind of like that cowbell sounding like it's more further in the back. So I'm going to put a little bit more reverb and turn it down in the mix a little bit. What's up, Staffo? How you doing, man? All right, cool. So we got this. This is going on here. Awesome. All right, so we got that happening. I'm not going to put any more effect on my drums because they really don't need it. This song really doesn't need it. So we got that in there. Now we're going to go ahead and let's pull our bass into the mix. And let's go ahead and I'm going to turn the basses down. Now I'm going to go over here and take a look at what my basses are doing. So the bass is this red one here. Why did it not? Oh, it's because I'm not, hold on, I'm not showing my, I'm not showing the colors, I'm not showing the color. There we go. There's my colors. Let's also get our instruments, our inserts, and our sends. I forgot to do that earlier. Okay, so here's our bass. And the basses are basically, yeah, they're all doing the same thing. It's just one is in, let's see. Yeah. So you can see it's kind of like, here's the sub bass and here's the 808 bass. And what's the difference between the two? I don't know. Let's go, we're going to take a listen to that in a second because we might not need to overlap these or we might need to pull out different things at different times. So let's just keep going with this chorus though. And so the sub bass here, there we go. That sounds pretty good, yeah. You can hear how I turned it down a little bit there. Now, probably we don't need to, but I'm just going to throw a compressor on here just a little bit, just to keep it solid. Pull it up. And I don't want it to compress too much. Awesome. Let's see. So what we got here is my attack is a little bit long. My release is going to be fast because I want this bouncing around just a little bit, but not too much because is it a bass? Let's go ahead and, all right. Cool. So we got that there. Compressing just a little bit. It's like 3 decibels. We can even a little bit less. This one you don't really need to compress it much, and actually in real life I probably wouldn't compress it. I just want to put it on there so we can just see what it looks like when we're compressing something like this. The reason why we don't need to compress it too much is because it already sounds good. All right, so now we got our bass and our drums. Now let's go ahead and check out this slap bass. Pull this down. Sounds good. Okay, cool. Let's put a little delay on this slap bass here, and the reason why is just because we'll call this an bass delay. We'll call it bass slap. Now, this slap bass isn't really part of this bass group here, so what I'm going to do is, do you know what I mean by that? It's not actually like a bass, it's not like a sub bass. So I'm going to take these two basses here, I'm actually going to subgroup these together. New track, we'll call it bass sub group. Boom. And that's going to go into my bass group. There we go. Okay. And then my bass slap delay is also going to go into my bass group. And you can see how I'm kind of like adjusting things as I move along. You know, if you turned it in and then when I get your final project, when your project is done and it looks a little bit different, that's fine. I'm not going to compare the two. Let's go ahead and color these up. Double click down here, color them up. Boop, boop. Awesome. Okay, and this one here is reddish as well. Just going to keep it the same as this one here. All right. Make sure I solo safe these. Cool. And my slap bass, we got our delay. So I'm going to send it over to my slap bass delay, bass slap delay. Boom. There we go. Cool. Send some over. And let's go ahead and get a little reverb. I mean, a little delay on here. So we're going to go over to delay. And we're going to use the air dynamic delay. What does this one do? Let's check this out. And I'm just going to push it over to it. Make sure the mix is 100%. All right, so I'm not really sure why. I'm gonna turn off the sync here. I'm not sure why it's not. Oh wait, left, right, still on. Let's see. Why it's not doing the stereo thing. All right, so we're gonna turn that off. I'm not a fan, or I just don't know how to use it. And we'll go in here to our multi-delay. Let's see what this one does. What I want to do is I just want to get like a little out to the side, not like an actual like echo, like a little out to the side type of thing going on. And let's see what this one does. Made it loud. Huh. Yeah, nope. Okay, so I'm just going to use the one that comes with Pro Tools. That's what I get for trying new things. This is why you can't try new things. Actually, you should be trying new things all the time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Mod Delay 3. This one comes with Pro Tools. And what I want to do is I just want to be out to the sides a little bit here. So I'm going to get my left and my right, left and right here, and the mix is going to be set to 100%. I'm going to turn off my sync and make sure that these are not linked together. They're not linked together. Nope, yep, good. If I wanted to link them, I would click the link button there, but I do not want to link them. Let's hear this. There we go. Cool. Put this down. what I'm doing here is I just want to give it like a little bit of a spread out to the side. Keep this one at 80. And if y'all remember from Mod 1, you got that Haas effect. Turn it down here. Put a low pass filter on it. Bring it up. Cool, that just gives like a little something something on the sides of your ears. Cool. Yeah, hear that? Cool, put a low cut EQ on here just to make sure it's not doing anything. And also, I think maybe a little compression. When in doubt, low cut EQ at 150. Set your Q to 6 dB, so we're not cutting too much. And then also let's compress this a little bit here. Use the compressor Dyne 3. Bring the threshold down. Cool. Gain up. And this is just going to make sure that it's like a little bit smoothed out. Cool. Awesome. Cool. All right. So we got that bass sound effect in there. Now let's go back over. Let's see what else has happened. So I'm going to go ahead and show all my tracks now because we're getting kind of near the end of our instruments. What else have we got in here? Oh, we got our main synth. Oh, we got this other synth here is playing. Let's see what this one's doing. Okay, turn this one down a little bit. Maybe leave it up, but not. There we go, cool. Sweet, now I want to go over here to my verse and just see what this is 808 doing. Okay, now here's the thing, right? We hear this one, we hear the other one. Let's hear what's the difference between these two. So let's just solo this one out. It sounds like that. What does this one sound like? Okay, so they're different sounds, but essentially they're doing the same type of thing within our mix. So, oops, what did I do? Oh, interesting. I did not know holding down Option would get rid of that. That's funny. All right, so I'm gonna hold down Option. I'm gonna drag this over here to like that. So they have the same compression on them. Awesome, let's hear what that sounds like with everything. Pull this down. Now, what that says to me though is realistically, this chorus over here does not need both at the same time, because we got that and we got this. So it's like, all right, make a decision. Now, I kind of like the new one a little bit better, so I'm going to keep this sub bass out of here, and I'm just going to keep it going with this other 808 bass. Yeah. Yeah, I don't need both those basses happening at the same time, because if you have them, you can get some phasing issues and stuff like that. So we want to be careful about that kind of thing. And I think that sounds fine. Let's turn this back on here. Yeah, no, I don't want that. So the way I just muted that was Command M to mute that clip. All right, next what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over here to this part here. All right, so this sub bass here is not a sub bass. It doesn't belong with my sub bass here. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this out and put this on its own new track. I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate the track. Duplicate tracks. Yep, duplicate the track. Hit OK, and this one here is going to be called bass high. Hello. And I'm going to get rid of it and just get rid of all these extra basses that are in here, because it does not need to be, it wants to be on its own track. And what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and make sure that, let's make sure that pull it down a little bit. Cool. And they have them both here, so there's not a whole lot I can do about it. They don't. I would rather them separate the stuff out. You know what I'm gonna do here? Actually, I'm gonna put this here, and I'm gonna get. Wait, can I? Let's see here what to do. There's not a whole lot I can do about it. I would request for these things to be separated out, but whatever. All right, so now I got this here. Turn this down a little bit. And maybe even put some effects on this. I'm not gonna do it right now just for time's sake, but maybe even put some effect on it. Let's put like a little chorusy thing on it. Actually, let's do this. Shall we? Let's do it. I'm gonna go down here, I'm gonna drag, whoops. Drag this down here. Why is it not? There we go. And I'm going to put a low cut on here. Put that here, or a high pass rather. I'll keep it actually sharper. And this one here, I'm going to put a high. Go ahead and actually, let's do it like this. Separate this out. And this is something, because we're working in Pro Tools on a computer, we have we can totally do stuff like this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get rid of the high frequency and just keep this one low. Sub bass bridge. And there we go. All right, so my sub bass here. Sonny's having some technical difficulties. All right, but thanks for letting me know that you're here. All right, so I got this here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a high pass on this one. Sorry, low pass. And cut out the higher frequencies. Just here, let's solo this out. So it's just the mids, the lows going through the subs. Cool. And now this one here, and we got that low cut happening. Put that down a little bit lower, like 100 hertz. Cool. Now this low one here, we might want to put some saturation on it. Let's see, just to kind of give it some flavor on that low end. But actually, let's do this. Let's put the chorus on this one here. And what I'm going to do, pull this down. Let's listen to this. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and shift click that because I like my loops to be. All right, let's put a little chorus on this one here. Modulation. C1 chorus. It's kind of a nice chorus. I guess this one comes with Pro Tools? I don't know, let's try one that I, oh, it does, yeah. Okay, so yeah, it must be one of the ones that you can get with Pro Tools. And turn that down a little bit. It's nice, you can hear it if you're listening on headphones, you can hear it's kind of like tickling the sides of your drums there. Pull it back in the middle there. Now and now we got that low end that comes in. Am I actually producing with Pro Tools? I don't actually produce with Pro Tools. This is somebody else's production. I think they did it in like Logic or something. I produce with Ableton Live, and then Pro Tools? No. Video editing software? Tripping. What it says, what am I mixing right now? I'm mixing just like you. I'm mixing the bass right here. Now let's go back and listen to it over here. Now hear how nice that sounds? Let's go back into here. That bass sounds so much nicer than it did a second ago. It was just super flat before. There it was before. Just with that chorus on there. Sounds really nice. That low end comes in. All right. You might be mixing things up in your mind. I mean, they use Pro Tools a lot for audio for video. So that's probably where you're mixing things up. All right. So, I added a filter. Yeah. Yeah, Swift says I have the most issues with the bass. Everybody does. Bass is like it's the hard thing. And that's why we got to really separate things out and really kind of target that bass because it is tough. And then I added a filter. I'm adding filters in here, high passes and low passes to separate these two things out. So my bass high here, you can see I got the filter right there, and the bass sub bass, I've got the filter right there. And you can see they cross over a bit. Oops. I need to hold down shift and get both of them up. They cross over, but I've got like two different, it's in the same bass line, but the reason why I'm doing it like this is because whoever bounced this out, they stemmed it out with all the basses together. Oh, that's a bass. It's not a bass. It may have come from a bass, but it's not actually a bass sound. It's more like they're using it as like kind of like a lead type of thing from a bass instrument. And if I had been doing this myself, if I had been producing this, I would have separated that stuff out like before it got to the mixing phase, because it's not the same instrument as a bass. It's technically comes from the same instrument, but it's not serving the same purpose. And this is, I think, is a big difference between producers who are pretty good and producers who are real high-end professionals, because they'll know that it's not about the instrument name, it's about what purpose that instrument is serving within the mix. So, and this is, I mean, it's something that everybody goes through. It's not like, the song is still a good song. It's still a really dope song, actually. It's just, I would separate that stuff out. And I think for mixing purposes, you kind of need to. All right, so now we got our basses in there. Let's go ahead and check out this other stuff that's happening down here, our synths. Okay, so the strings come in here. So we can see here's where the strings start. Let me just make sure there's no strings. Yep, you can see there's no strings there. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go down here. Let's check out the strings. Says it's just frequencies. Yep. Okay, so let's check out these strings. Okay, so we got these strings here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put some swirliness on these. These need like a little bit of reverb. They need a little bit of swirliness. So a swirl sound would come from something like a, let's see, modulation, harmonics, modulation. Let's go into, and like a chorus vibrato would be good. Or if there's a roto speaker, that might be kind of fun. Let's check that out and see. Make it slow. Yeah, there we go. That's kind of cool. Hear what different ones sound like. It's kind of a nice little sound. But it says, well, you can set up so it'll send you the message when I come on. This is actually a school for SAE. So I'm just doing, I don't always do it like this. I usually do, you know, like more specific things. All right, so that's a little bit too fast, watery. I liked the foam drum. Rover was nice too. Yeah, fast. Okay. So we're going to use that one there. Use that roto speaker. Roto speakers were made for organs. Actually, it's a really cool thing for organs. And then what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to send this to a reverb, because I also want it to go into a reverb. So we're going to have an aux, and we're going to have our string reverb. And as you can hear, this is different from my synths. So I'm actually going to make this into its own thing. I'm going to take it out of my synths here. We're going to put it over here to the right of my guitars. And it's not going to go into my synths. I'm going to make a new group for this. String group, so it has my string and the reverb. There we go. And let me also, where are we? Yeah, here, we'll just loop this section of the song here. Cool. Get our reverb going on. Get this going to our instrument group. Okay, so we got our housekeeping taken care of here, and yep, it's a music and it's a not production school, it's an engineering school, but it's all over the world. Yep, for sure. But I'm glad you're enjoying it. All right, so over here reverb, and let's use this reverb that comes with Pro Tools. Let's use the Air reverb, and this is one of the ones you can download with Pro Tools. And we're going to send it over to that track, string reverb. Where are you? There you are. Boom. Why did that not work? Send string reverb. Probably because I was playing. Maybe I didn't want to do it. Okay, cool. So we got this in here. Now I can pull up a preset in here. And we'll pull up, let's see what scoring stage sounds like. Because I just want it to be kind of a big wide sound in here. Awesome. That sounds pretty good. Make them all the same color here. Yep. And now because I can do that. Now, the other thing we can do is on this reverb, let's add a little chorus on everything all together. Just to make it even more swirly, shall we? All right, I actually enjoyed this chorus verb over here a little bit more. So I'm going to turn this one off, Command Control to turn it off. Yeah, and that just kind of makes it even more swirly. I'm going to turn it down. Oops. Let's turn it down like this. And I'm going to send this pre. I want a lot of that reverb in there. Make sure our mix is set to 100. It is. Good. And let's see if there's a there's stereo widener. Excuse me. Is there one that comes with Pro Tools now? Let's see. Haas. What is Haas? Oh, that does not come with Pro Tools. That's part of the Slate thing. Stereo B360. Crash. Okay, didn't like that one. Let's see what Avid has down here. If Avid has any kind of thing that looks like an obvious stereo thing. I don't think it does. I'm just kind of seeing if they added something in at some point. Why would I use a stereo widener? Just to kind of, it's something, if you're using the right plugin, it kind of does some things for you just easier. It's just like a little bit quicker. But what you're talking about with, instead of just the right width with panning and reverb, reverb is good, but you can also make it a bit wider too. But it's hard to talk about really without getting into it more. And I'm kind of trying to get through this. So we're not going to worry about it right now. All right. So got this in here. let's go in here to our guitars and check out our guitars. This guitar sounds nice. I'm gonna zoom in. Now, notice what just happened there. This guitar part over here is way louder than this guitar part here, and you can actually see it in here. So if I wanted to keep these on the same track, I can just go ahead and turn this down like this here. Or what I would actually really do is I'd want to put these on different tracks, because this here, it says guitar dry, but that does not sound like a dry guitar to me. I don't know about you guys, but that does not sound like a dry guitar. Let's see what happens if we move it up here. Yeah, it's still... Yeah, I'm gonna keep this down here. I'm gonna keep this one up here. So I put it onto the track that actually made more sense, because whoever put this in here is not labeled correctly. And I don't want my guitar dry to be there with all that other stuff. Alright, cool. That sounds good. Let's go ahead and listen to everything else. Nice. Now we're missing some of the stuff because we don't have our vocals in there yet, and there's some vocal things that are happening in here. So I'm just listening to this. Here, let's... That. Cool. Okay, I'm gonna adjust the volume levels here. Cool, that sounds pretty good. Let's put our guitar dry part in the middle. Let's see what this sounds like. I'm gonna put a compressor on here just to smooth out that guitar. And where is Dyne 3 compressor? Boom. Turn my knee up here a little bit, just to smooth it out even more. Awesome. Great, cool. So now we've got a decent mix on all of our instruments and everything like that, and it wasn't exactly a rough mix because I was adding effects and stuff in here. It's actually a pretty good mix for this, but as you can see, it didn't take that long. But now let's go ahead and do our vocals. Go down here, and with the vocals, let's just get our vocals into a rough mix here with our instruments. I'm gonna keep the sound effects muted for now. Hey, what's up? Let's go ahead and in here. Gonna go down here. Let's go back to the verse over here. I'm gonna set up a loop on my verse here. I need someone just like you. Move it in the night until the sun shines through. Every time you move with... Now, if we double click on this, we can see it says CLA effects. CLA is actually a plugin from Waves. It's the Chris Lord Algae effects, and basically you probably want to use this one here. Cool. All right. So yeah, basically this is one you want to use if you're doing this track here. So you can mute the main vocal here, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to deactivate it. So I'm going to turn this down. I'm going to hit hide and make inactive right here. Oop. And now, because we don't need both of them. There we go. Let's hear what this sounds like. All right, I'm gonna put a compressor on here. Use the BF76. And I'm gonna run it into the compressor. Because they've already got some compression on here, but really I want a little bit more on here just because it's not really, there's still like, it still goes up and down a lot. Says you got some stuff. Awesome. Sounds like some good gear there. Let's go over here. Let's run over to this part here. I'm just gonna loop it before we get to that chorus, because we're gonna take that chorus and actually chop it out into a different track.
I need someone just like you, moving in the night.
I'm gonna push it until we're hitting that compressor, just to smooth it out.
Looking in your eyes to know just what I see. Sitting on the edge of time. Oh yeah, baby, I am feeling fine. Broken mirrors.
I'm gonna flip my attack and my release because I want my attack to be fast and my release to be slow.
I need someone just like you, moving in the night until the sun shines through. Every time you move with me, looking in your eyes to know just what I see.
I think this Vox Main 2 is actually just the dry signal, so I'm gonna go ahead and hide and deactivate that one as well.
I need someone just like you.
Cool, and this sounds pretty good. Let's listen.
Shattered dreams. I know this feels good, but who knows what love means.
And so you can see that when it gets this loud bit over here, it's compressing more. It's never compressing more than 7 dB really. So it's quite a bit of compression, but it still sounds pretty smooth. But we're hearing everything. It's not getting super loud to us in our headphones. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to this part. I'm going to cut out the chorus bits, and I can see where they are. Here we go, choruses, boom. Command E to cut that out. You don't have to use all the vocal tracks. No, if they're just doing the same thing, you can just get rid of some of them if you want to. As long as you've got all the chorus parts in there. Like there's like a whole lot of harmonies and stuff in this, like mid, all this stuff down here. So you definitely want to keep all this stuff, but that main vocal part really was run through effects and stuff. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna cut that out there. Let's go over here to our chorus over here.
Baby, I will turn you on. When you move.
Okay, and we're gonna go over here to this part here. Boom, get rid of this stuff. Cool, so I got these parts here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna duplicate this. And I'm gonna get rid of the separate sections. I'm gonna duplicate, and I'm gonna call this one vocal. This is the vocal verse. I'm just gonna vocal verse. Oh no, this is the vocal chorus. This one was the vocal verse. And I'm gonna duplicate this one again for the vocal bridge. This, put this down here, give it a name. Boom. Okay, there we go. So we got that there. Now we can really balance these with the right compression, the right levels and stuff like that, because you can see this, if I zoom out a little bit, you can see this is way louder than this stuff over here. So I'm also gonna take this last bit over here. I'm just gonna turn it down because it's like something that's due is like way up in that microphone. We don't need it to be that loud. There we go. And this stuff over here, I'm gonna keep it, but I'm just gonna back off on my compressor a little bit. Let's go over here and check out the chorus. I'm gonna hit that compressor less. Right here, see what. But what I can do is I can pull it up in level to make it balance with the verse, but it's not compressing it as much because I don't want that compressor over compressing. Awesome. Let's go back over to verse 2.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. When I'm with you, all I wanted to do is just go, go, go. Tripping on us.
Swift says, I suck at compression. Join the crowd. we all suck at compression. The secret really to compression is just understanding what it does. It's really just turning a level down as it goes through, and really you just don't want that level to turn down too much. So just set it up here. The main part that's hard about compression is just that it's hard to hear compression. So I'm going to go over here to my second chorus over here. But notice what's happening is I adjusted the levels here, so it's not hitting it too hard. Now what we want to do is we want to go down here to our vocals down here. We want to add that same compressor into them. So we're going to go ahead and add in the same. I'm just going to put the same compressor here, here, here. So it says, to me it sounds like compression sounds a little heavy, fuller than an uncompressed track. Are you talking about in this specific example? So what happens a lot of times with compression is that people make the mistake of compressing and making it louder, and they think it sounds better, because louder stuff does tend to sound better to us. The thing is, I'm going to put this vocal chorus into my vocal chorus group as well. The thing is, we need to make sure that when we're doing our compression and stuff, we're not really paying attention to the loudness adjustment that it's making, and instead focus on how it's actually affecting the sound itself without making it louder. So compression in general will sound like it's loud, like better, because it's just louder. So we just need to make sure about that part there. I'm just going to go ahead and solo these out right here. Now you'll notice that string, we're still hearing that string sound there, and the reason why we're hearing that string sound is because this reverb is, the send here is it's set for pre. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that off, and I'm just going to push that harder. And if you have questions about why it's doing that, then we can definitely talk about it another time, but not right now. I don't want to get too sidetracked. Okay, that reverb. It just make me wanna tell you all. Hear that, how different that sounds? Don't need as much of that reverb. Okay, let's hear without the main part. Alright, there's this. I'm gonna push the compressor a little bit harder. Turn it down. I just want to tell you all, baby. Now, the reason why I'm pushing this harder for this is because, so this compressor does not have a threshold on it. It's just a fixed threshold, and you have to push that input to hit that threshold harder. And this is like a softer vocal track, so we're pushing that a little bit harder there so it hits that compressor, so I can just smooth it out. Because I don't want it to be like super loud and soft all the time. I want it to be more steady. Let's hear this one. This is not. It's got some weird effect on it. Just want to tell you all, baby. Cool. All right. Thanks for that advice. That's not bad advice there. Yep. Cool. All right. So push this one here a little bit more. Turn it down a little bit right there. So now let's get our reverb. Yeah. Okay, so we got that there. Turn this down. Sweet. Cool. Sweet. So what I did was, when I got that in there, now I've got this vocal chorus group here, and I can turn this up and down. So I can bring it all the way down, I can bring it up.
just make me wanna tell you all. The way you moving all around me.
Awesome.
I just want to tell you all, baby. The way you moving on the dance floor. It just make me wanna tell you all. The way you moving all around me.
Awesome. So now let's go over here to our vocal bridge. Turn this down a little bit because we don't want to hit that compressor too hard. Cool. Sounds pretty good. And now we're gonna go down here and just see what's going on with this vocals, the way you move part here. Awesome. Great, and I think that sounds pretty good. And we've got a pretty decent little mix going on here. Oh, we didn't get our sound effects and stuff. Let's get these in here. Where's our race car? Oh, the breath chants. There we go. There's that. Here's our race car. Let's hear what that sounds like. There we go. Let's make that cash register go back and forth a little bit. Now, the only thing I know that I have that does that is the Sound Toys plugin for Pro Tools. I've got some other stuff. But for Sound Toys, I know it does that, so I'm going to go ahead and put my where is it? Pan Man on here. And we're just going to go basic panning, rhythmic pans, 4 per side. There we go. I want it to be faster than that, so let's take this and make it rhythm, notes, bars, notes. Let's do it dotted notes, so it goes back and forth. Actually, this would be a really good place. You know what? No, I'm not going to do it like that. This would be a really good place for doing panning automation. But you can see this is a stereo. It's here. Let's just listen to this cash register real quick. To me, well, you know what? Never mind. I do want to use the Pan Man thing because it's stereo and I wanted to keep it stereo. So we'll just go in here and we'll say, all right, we'll just go to a default rhythmic pan. 4 per side is fine, but I'm going to use my custom rhythm. I'm going to use dotted notes, that's dotted 16 notes like that. No, wait, it's dotted 8 notes. Okay, we can use that a little bit. There you go, smooth that out a little bit. Cool. Now when you put that in with everything else, cool. All right. Awesome. So we got this. Boom, and that's pretty much the track done as far as the mix goes. That's pretty good. We spent about an hour and a half on this thing. Well, not an hour and a half. Also with a little bit of disruptions and distractions. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put in some MIDI parts in here. Now I don't have, oh, I do have my MIDI keyboard here, but I've also got my, whoa, sorry dog. Sorry dog. Sorry, go back to sleep. Puppy was just like, what was that? Go back to sleep, baby. How much CPU is all this using? Like none. Here, let me show you. Because it's not that much. I mean, this isn't, I haven't really done much, right? So here, If we go up to our window, go to system usage. I mean, 4%? Like, not much at all of my CPU. But once I start adding some instruments in, then we're going to start seeing the CPU start to spike, because these effects, they're only really using CPU when audio is going through them anyway. And so and also this computer is a beast. I mean, this is a Mac Mini i7. It's got 12 cores, and it's got 32 gigs of RAM. So, and this cost me about $2,000. I think this keyboard, I got it like about a year ago. It cost me around $2,000, and it's gonna, I mean, I hope it's gonna last me for, 10 years. It's a beast. It's a beastie beast. So, oh my goodness. Those new M1 chips, don't even get me started. Those M1 chips are redonkulous. I kind of want to get, I kind of want to sell this and get a Mac Mini, a new Mac Mini, just to have that M1 chip, because those things look insane. I would maybe, I don't know if I would get them quite yet. I might wait a year to get one though, because I know that they say they work super well with the older, with the converting the software, like bridging the software, but man, I've been looking at those being like, do I need you? I don't need you. I don't need you. I do not need you. You stay away from me. Temptation. Back. Back, temptation. Back. All right, so we're going to go in here to our chorus here. And we're going to, we got this second chorus here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add some stuff in here. Yep, exactly. Wait for Pro Tools to catch up. Dog, you are going to fall off the edge here. Scoot that way. Don't fall off, dummy. Okay, my dog is like perched right next to the edge of the thing here. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna add some sounds in here. I'm gonna put my sounds down here. Let's put them right before the chorus, right before the verses, and I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna make everything nice and small. So you see what I did was I made the mix even before I'm adding in the MIDI stuff, just because the MIDI stuff, I'm gonna come back. I wanted to come back to it, but let's go in here. I'm gonna make instrument tracks. And we'll call this one, I like bell sounds. So I'm going to call this one bells. And we're going to go in here, and I don't know. Oh, right. Yeah, the 2012 model. So you know what? Let's come back to it. I want to talk about, I'll talk about it. And I think it's really useful to talk about. But let me finish this recording first, because I'm actually recording all this stuff to put up on YouTube for this mix. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go in here. I'm going to add an instrument in here. We're going to add let's add some FM instruments, shall we? Let's use FM8. No, do I have it in here? Let's use, do I have SendPlant? Oh, I didn't put it in. Oh, it might not be AAX actually. Okay. Oh, it's probably not an AAX plugin. Or it might be, I don't know. I don't see it here. I may not have installed it as an AAX plugin. Whatever. All right. We'll use let's use the Arturia FM synthesizer, the DX7 5. I haven't used this one ever. I would not like to take the thing. I would like to go straight to these, and let's go to styles. Percussion? Alien bells. Let's hear what alien bells sound like. So I got this, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn the volume down so we're not blasting anybody's ears out. Does that sound good? How does that sound? Sounds like that's very much an alien bell. Ooh, volley bells. So just so you know, if you switch over to PC, you can still load all your. You're not going to learn about FM synthesis. That's good luck with FM synthesis. That's a no. We're not going to learn about FM synthesis. Just to address what you're saying real quick, if you've got a whole bunch of plugins on your Mac Mini, they will all convert over to Windows. You just have to reinstall it. You just have to install and download the Windows versions from the websites. All right. So I like this sound here. Let's go ahead and hit play. Oops, it's grid. And I just gotta find the key. Wait, why are you not starting? Wait, what's happening? Whoa. Whoa. Turn your pre-roll off.
When you move up on the dance.
Okay, so that's what the vocal is doing. So it's, I guess it's B flat minor, I guess. All right, and so I'm gonna go ahead and hit record. We're gonna record some stuff in here. I'm just gonna go ahead and record. What did I just do? Oh. Nope. Nope. Ugh. Sorry, I was using my. There we go. So now, boom.
When you move up on the dance floor, it just makes me wanna tell you all. When you moving all around me, I just want to tell you all, baby. When you moving on the dance floor, it just makes me wanna tell you all.
Okay, cool. So I got that little part in there. Sounds pretty good. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Apollo. I've got the I've got my UAD here as well. So I got this. Boom. I'm gonna go ahead and quantize those. 16th note. Well, I was doing the 8th note, so I'll just quantize to the 8th note. Boom. Now let's listen to it. Cool. Let's drag this back a little bit. Quantize that with that note in there. There we go.
When you move up on the dance floor, it just makes me wanna tell you all.
Cool.
When you moving all around me, I just want to tell you all, baby. When you
Okay, so I got that. I'm just gonna copy and paste this over to my other choruses here. No, scare me, dog. Copy and paste it over to here. And now let's just listen to this. Let's hear what this sounds like. I'm gonna go ahead and take this one here. I'm gonna put it on top of itself an octave up. So let's go ahead and, how does it sound an octave up? I'm gonna just listen to it an octave up. I'm gonna go to my event operations and change, I'm gonna transpose it one octave up. And this is something we did talk about the other day. Doesn't sound quite as full as the other one, but that's okay. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to copy it, I'm going to paste special, I'm going to merge them, which is option M. And now I got both of those. Give it that octave up there. And then what I'm going to do is in here, these low notes, I'm going to turn them down. There we go, cool. So if I start over here, let's listen to that. Nice, sounds good. Sweet, let's go back over here, listen.
but who knows what love means? When you move up on the dance floor, it just makes me wanna tell you all. When you moving all around me, I just want to tell you all, baby. Do re mi fa.
Cool, that sounds cool. Let's make one more track in here. One more instrument track. And we'll call this one organ. Put like an organ in here. And we'll use a farfisa. Sorry, my dog just woke up and now it's like doing things. Let's go to instrument. Let's use, not the farfisa, let's use the, well, go back to sleep, baby. Let's use the, let's use the Solina. Another Arturia one. Factory, like a organ type of thing. and string type sounds, air string. Turn the volume down on this. Yeah, cool. So we'll just use that there. I'm gonna go ahead, record that in.
I know this feels good, but who knows what love means? When you move up on the dance floor,
I'm just recording this in real quick.
it just make me wanna tell you all. The way you move it all around me, I just want to tell you all, baby. Do, re, mi, fa.
Yeah, I'm streaming off the same computer that I'm mixing on. Yep, everything's on one computer. I mean, it's a beast. It's a beast. There's no doubt about it. This computer is absolutely a beast. But again, I'm not really doing that much right now. There's not a whole lot going on. Let's pull the system usage back up here. You can see it's using more system usage than it was.
But who knows what love means?
See how much that jumped up? We're now at like 12%, 11%.
It just make me wanna tell you all. The way you move it all around me, I just want to tell you all, baby. Do, re, mi,
Awesome. Got that there. I'll take this and just copy it over like this. Boom, so it comes in. And the choruses. There we go. Now, one last thing here. We're going to address some of these questions here in just a second. But one last thing here is that these tracks should be bounced into, turned into like, what is it? Committed, okay? Because if you're using instruments, you don't know if your people that you're sending your session to have the instruments or not. So I've got the MIDI here. I'm gonna go ahead and hold down Shift, and then I'm gonna click them. I've got it laid out where I want it to be. I'm gonna right click, I'm gonna go to Commit. I'm not gonna render any automation here. I'm gonna hide and make my tracks inactive, offline, select a track, boom. So now I've got these here, and I think it'll keep them separated out. I don't remember if it puts them together. I think Bounce puts them together. Let's see what's happening. But yep, so yep, got them all separated out, which is good. It's got extra stuff in here. Remember our command U. Let's go ahead and strip that out. Strip it out, boom. Cool, so now if we go in here and
sitting on the edge of time. Oh yeah, baby, I am feeling fine. Broken mirrors, shattered dreams. I know this feels good, but who knows what love means? When you move up on the dance floor, it just makes me wanna tell you all. The way you move it all around me, I just want to tell you all, baby. Do, re, mi, fa.
sweet.
Sol, la, ti, do. When I'm with you, all.
Yep, sounds good. I'm gonna put a little fade on here. Yeah, the vocals sound good. I feel like Joe Totino did this song or something. I'm not really sure who did the song. I did not record the vocals. Oops. Actually, let's keep that. Okay, I've just got a fade on here just to make sure they fade out. And I think that's done. Let's just call that one done there. What I want to do now, the mix is done. I like how it sounds, everything. If I want to go back and listen to it and make sure, go back and check different parts.
I knew someone.
Okay, go back. Nice, sounds good. I think, yeah, we're gonna call that one done. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to go over to the top. I'm gonna click on that. I'm gonna hold down Shift and go to the end, click on that. And now I'm gonna bounce this out. So once I bounce this out, the way I do that is I'm gonna Command Shift B, no, Command Option B, sorry, not Command Shift B, Command Option B. And hold on one second, I'll just do that. I'm gonna put the dog on my lap because she's trying to get active, which means she has to use the bathroom in a second. Okay, if she's on my lap, she will not use the bathroom. So I'm gonna go to file name. I'm gonna put my name on here somewhere. I'm gonna start with my name here. So T, Tony, G, there we go. Bedrock, just like you. File type, wave. Here, physical output, yes. Left and right, yes. Audio, I'm gonna make it interleaved. Super important. Add MP3, 24-bit, 44.1. Pad to frame boundary, you don't need to worry about that. Import after bounce, no. Session folder, bounced files, yes, that's great. Offline, yes, absolutely, 100%. Hit bounce. Now it's going to ask me how do I want to name the MP3 side of things. Yeah, we're good to go here. Hit OK. And now it's going to bounce it out. Now I want to make sure I double check that. Once I bounce it out. So go into here, go into my bounced files. There it is right there. Boom, boom, boom. It's all set up. You can see there it is, 61. That sounds about right. 9 megabytes. That sounds about right for the MP3. Now, here's the thing is that, remember, we got to do one more step here for turning this in for school. If this is your session that you've chosen to do, got to do one more step, and that is save copy in. Remember in all the tests, every single test it says save copy in, save copy in, save copy in, right? Broken record. Well, this is when you got to save the copy in. So I click on save copy in, click on my audio files, bit depth 24-bit, whatever it is. Items to copy, audio files, main playlist only. If we have any extra playlists, it won't do that. Interleaved, yes. 4-bit, okay, so yep, hit OK. And now where do you want to put it? Well, I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to call it Tony G Bedrock, just like you. Hit save. And now it's going to copy everything over. Boop, 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 copy it over. Boom. Now, at this point, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to do a save as. I didn't save the session the whole time. Oops. Ha 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 ha. Make sure you save. Make sure you save, boys and girls. Tony G, just like you. And then this is 2010, week 12. Yep, mix. Okay, so now I got this. I'm going to close the session out. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go on my desktop. I'm going to make sure it loads up from my desktop here. I'm also going to go into my desktop and make sure that all my audio files, they're all in there. They are. Now, one thing that's missing though is, here, let me close this out. Don't save. Watch what happens. If I go in here, look, my bounced files are not there. Well, I want to make sure I grab my bounced files from my original session. And I don't care if you put them in a folder called bounced files or not. I really don't. But I definitely want them over here. So you can copy them, you can just drag them, whatever you want to do, it's up to you. But yeah, so Joe just asked, oh, Joe, I didn't even see your question. Good timing on that question though. Does it copy your bounced files too? No, it does not copy your bounced files. So make sure you drag your bounced files over. Maybe make us, here, if I open this up, it'll open up, it'll say bounced files. And if I go back to it, I can put my bounced files into this folder. And now I can close this back up again. Do not save. And there's my bounced files. Now, what you're going to do is this folder here is what you are going to compress. Right click on it and compress it. Or if you're on a Windows machine, do whatever Windows people do. I do not know what that is. This session will be pretty big. It'll be pretty big. I mean, you can see it says 1.9 gigabytes because there's a lot of audio files in here. But once you compress it down, it should compress it down to a manageable size. And if you do not have a good internet at home, and it takes like 5 years to upload stuff on your internet at home, bring it into school on a hard drive and upload it on a hard drive at school. All right. Just let me know what you're doing. If you need like a little bit of time just to upload it, I am lenient about that kind of stuff. Because I know that everybody's got some issue. People have issues with internet stuff sometimes. So let's just take a look and see how big this session is. how big this file is. It's only 676 megabytes. That's what it compressed down to, from 2 gigs to 676 megabytes. I used Command I to see that data. So that's okay, and you can upload that to get a grade. All right, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now.